Welcome to Live It Up. I'm Donna Drake, and with me is my good friend Karen Garvey. Hello.
Hi, Donna. How are you?
Good. We've had you on as a guest before. So what has happened and transpired in your life between then and now? What's going on in your world?
There's a lot. There's a lot going on. The momentum is gaining. The more I put out there, the more I reach people. You know, I used to maybe be clustered in the tri-state area of people that I was able to bring value to, but now it's across the United States. It's across the world. And so that's exciting. I get to find out firsthand different parts of the world, how people live, not just the things that you read, but when you have clients that are situated in the Middle East or in South America, and you talk about intimate things through the coaching, then you find out insights into the way people live and what they're looking at and what they care about and what they're focusing on. So it's fun and it's growing.
You led a really beautiful seminar the other night on the beach, your summer soiree that I was happy to attend. And one of the things you talked about was the concept of connection. You know, and you were talking about one globe, one world, one people, and that if a tsunami happened, you know, and there was a wash up, that something that was from one area of the world ended up in the water wave somewhere else. And you demonstrated that by doing a shell game. Let's talk about that. What was the purpose of that shell game?
Okay, what we did with the shell game was that I had created a circle of the people that were there, so there was about 50 people in a circle, and I handed the shell to the person on my left. And I had him raise his hand and say what his name was out loud so everyone was aware of him and his name. And I asked him to pass the shell around as quickly as he could, and everybody to pass it one person to another until it came back to me through my right side. We also said the name of the person that was on my right side, so people were feeling vested in the beginning and the end. And they passed the shell around. And so everybody was seeing how connected we are by passing that around. But then what we did was we began again. And this time I passed the shell to the gentleman next to me, but each time somebody handed the shell to the next person, they shouted out their name. And so we went around this circle, everybody declaring their name, making the statement as the shell is passing as quickly as it did the first time. And then I said, well, what was the difference? And it became very clear that when everybody was saying their name, we became vested in every person in the circle, and we got the link. It wasn't just about the shell anymore, it was about every person passing the shell. And what that just demonstrates is that even if in our intellectual part of us we understand that we are all connected, sometimes it's really good to know it on a deeper level. And my feeling is that as I'm intuiting things that are going to be coming for us on this globe, the knowingness of our interconnectedness is going to become more and more real. We're going to be feeling less separateness. We're going to be experiencing the interconnectedness, the degrees of separation, that game that we've been playing for a couple of decades. The degrees of separation are going to be seeming smaller and smaller and smaller. And even if there's a lot of chaos going on in the world, despite that, we'll also see the emergence of a new form of peace, the knowledge that we all can and do support one another.
I think it's a beautiful thing. You have another saying too, Karen, and I don't want to misquote it, so I'm going to let you quote it, but the idea is it has something to do with you're as important as everything and everything's as important as you.
I think you just about nailed it.
Did I really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, how do you phrase it?
I phrase it pretty much like that.
Okay.
That you are as important as everything in existence, and everything in existence is as important as you. I think that in spiritual teachings throughout, forever, ever since mankind was writing things and documenting things, there's always been a philosophy that geared toward the individual as more significant than the collective, or more apt, the collective is more important than the individual. And if you follow any kind of practice or you follow a philosophy that honors and respects the collective and sees yourself as insignificant, then you don't understand how powerful you are. But when you begin to acknowledge that you are as important as everything in all of existence, and that everything is as important as you, then if everyone is standing up and taking that power, and everyone is taking that responsibility and owning up to that privilege, then again, harmony will begin to spread.
Well, I'm a firm believer. I like following you. The first experience I had with you is the book called The Answers, and you've written several more. So let's run down the course. Let's just shout them out.
The next one was Money Wisdom. It's matching the vibration of what it is that you want in abundance with what it is that you put out there so that you can move past scarcity. The third book is called Begin Here. That might be my personal favorite, and even though it's called Begin Here, you would think we would start with that. But it is a good starting place, because the way that I describe it is that no matter how much you love yourself when you begin the book, you're going to love yourself more by the time you're finished with it. And then recently, I do have a lot of people that are always clamoring for the next book, and the busier I get, the harder it is to get the book in writing. I've got them all downloaded in my head, but I got to put them on a piece of paper. So I did just release a book of a wonderful artist had painted paintings to match the sayings and the expressions that I've created over years. So just a little tableside book of sayings. You might think that you read it in a second, but when you really read those expressions, you see that you can think about them for months and years before you get the full impact of what they're saying. And that's called Soul's Wisdom.
And I've seen through my experiences with some of the people that follow you, or that are embracing your wisdom that you're sharing so generously and kindly. There's new relationships that have blossomed, new businesses that have blossomed, more success, people are happier. I just have noticed it. Like when I stand back and look at that, how does that make you feel? When you say to yourself, oh, look, those two are in love, or, this
Yes.
person started a brand new business. How do you
Yes.
feel about
Yes.
that?
It's fantastic. Early on in my journey, when I would be a conduit for suggestions and ideas, or helping people to bring in partnerships or new businesses, or have them get past the fear of leaving something that they might perceive as being a secure role and moving into their passion, I used to feel, like I was handing something off. But now as it grows, and it was a good thing to hand something off, but now as it grows, I see that there are all of these things growing all over the place, and it actually feels really good to be able to just hand things off and let people grow it. So I feel as though, I did work on the growing of myself, and I'll never stop working on the growing of myself. But the more other people that I grow, the more it's contagious, and the more people help other people to have the courage to make the choices that help them to be happy, help them get past their patterns that are holding them back or encumbering them.
I think that's the saddest thing in life, is to see somebody that's just not living up to their fullest potential or their fullest happiness, and you want so much to just say, all right, get over it already. But you're right, it's a growth pattern for each
Yes.
person on their own journey.
Yes.
So, well, thank you so much. And it's KarenGarvey.com.
KarenGarvey.com.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much for
So
being
good
here.
to be here.
I want you to be here for hours. You realize that, right? we just want to hang out and talk for hours. But we hope this little experience that you shared with us today gave you a little bit of insight. Perhaps you are on a journey you'd like to learn more. Go to KarenGarvey.com. Thank you so much for watching. Donna Drake signing off.